Thanks, Dr. Susan. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another one of our Teaching with 21st Century Technology sessions. And today we'll be looking at using this tool called H5P to engage our students more, to add interactivity. And so before I go any further, my name is Michelle Stewart-McKoy. I am a faculty educational developer here on the Mona campus in the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. I'm going to ask Dr. Chisholm, who unfortunately won't be able to stay with us, to bring greetings and welcome. Dr. Chisholm.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Stewart-McKoy, and I'd like to welcome you all to this session, this workshop or webinar, as we might call it. This afternoon, I'm seeing a number of names that I recognize who usually come to the center for face-to-face sessions, and now we seem to be going online for everything. Well, life changes. Welcome to the session, and we're really happy to have you, and we trust that you will learn a lot and put it into practice in your classes. So thank you. All the best for the session.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Chisholm. Now, we said we're going to talk about H5P and how it works and so forth. But even before we start that, I just want to give you a little taste of what it might look like and whether or not you think that something like this could work with your students. Just two quick disclaimers. I am using two screens. So if you see me turn away, it means that I'm looking on the other screen. And because of that, it means that my engagement with the chat and with seeing if you have raised your hand is going to be limited. So Dr. Mackenzie, Charmaine, since you're going to be with us, I'm going to ask you please to monitor the chat and the activity for me, please.
Okay, I will.
Thank you very much. Now, I am going to share my screen. Let me make sure I share sound as well. And you should be seeing my screen. Please indicate if you're seeing my screen. You can just open your mic.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I'm going to mute and we're going to take a quick look at this interactive video.
Teaching is not just about imparting knowledge, it's about igniting curiosity, fostering critical thinking, developing problem-solving skills, and inspiring students to explore beyond the confines of traditional learning. If we think about it in simple terms, innovative teaching is a mindset that embraces creativity, collaboration, and student-centered approaches to education. It involves adopting new strategies, techniques, and technologies, where applicable, to enhance the learning experience of our learners. Innovative teaching isn't limited to technology.
Why does this matter?
While we acknowledge that technology can be a powerful tool, innovative teaching can thrive without it. Here are some examples of innovative teaching methods without relying on technology. This list is not exhaustive. Project-based learning, role-playing and non-tech simulations, inquiry-based learning, jigsaws, Socratic seminars, think, pair, share, learning stations, gallery walks, debates, outdoor learning, among others. If you are unfamiliar with any of these, please reach out to the CETL for a consultation.
Maybe I should open my mic for this one. So based on the video, innovative teaching works best with technology tools, true or false? Open your mic and answer.
False.
It's false, all right. Okay, nice.
As you know, technology can be a powerful catalyst for innovation in teaching when used effectively. Gamification, game-based learning, flipped classroom with video lectures, virtual reality and augmented reality, collaborative online tools, social media, blogging and podcasting are some examples which you may already be using or you are interested in trying. Innovative teaching is about embracing creativity, fostering student engagement, and tailoring the learning experience to meet the diverse needs of today's learners. By combining traditional methods with technology-enhanced approaches, we can create an environment that inspires curiosity, promotes critical thinking, and equips students with the skills necessary for success in the 21st century. At the Settle, we wish to remind you that the true essence of innovative teaching lies in your willingness to experiment, reflect, and continuously adapt to meet the evolving needs of your students.
All right, work with me on this one. We're going to choose the correct statement. Innovative teaching relies on the flipped classroom approaches to engaging students, or innovative teaching can be effective with or without technology. And this is based on what the video just showed us. Opening
Two.
your mic is fine. Is the
Number
second
two.
one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I can close this. And then it tells me that I've answered 2 questions, the summary question and the quick question, and I have submitted. Click below to submit. So when I submit my answers, it has given me the details, and I can close this, and I can then close this. Let me just come out of, oh, sorry. All right. No, this is an example. I'm going to stop sharing a little bit so that we can just talk. And that is an example of an interactive video using H5P. Do you think this is something that your students would enjoy?
Yes.
Definitely.
Definitely. Why?
They like the interaction. They really enjoy to have this, to see themselves standing before a screen that's moving and doing things and clicking and just being a part of what's happening.
And for us as facilitators, how would this benefit us?
Well,
Based on the little that you
one of
saw just now.
Well, it does create a level of excitement for learning because they see something they want to adjust to, and it provides an opportunity for you to become far more creative. You have different ways of doing a number of things.
Anybody wants to add anything else?
But it provides feedback.
Aha, I was hoping for that to be the leading cause for facilitators. It does provide feedback. And so we can ensure that the feedback that we provide is so tailored that the students can get as specific and as detailed a feedback as is possible. Anything else anybody noticed from the quick video? Did anybody notice that you can add in that video different types of information? So you can add to the video additional resources as well as put in activities. Did anybody notice that?
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. All right,
I
so
use the app. I use the app using video and with questions in the video, musical, with comics, with note voice that we put subtitles.
very good. Welcome, Maite. Thank you. Yes. So the H5P allows for us to create interactive content. We can create interactive activities and we can combine those activities. Now, I don't know if you remember the days when we used to use Flash. We used to create all these different elements and we put them together in a Flash file. And then Flash came to end of life. And so we started using what we call HTML5. Okay. And so HTML5 loads everything. It does what Flash used to do. essentially, but it packages it in a smaller way. So we can still have a number of different activities and elements and pieces in one file. That's called an HTML file. Now, when we think about H5P, what it means is that it's an HTML5 package, which means that it contains a number of different pieces, much more than a typical HTML5 file would have. And we can create these interactive files by accessing the H5P files and resources from a number of places. All right. So one, there is H5P.org. That is the place where we would normally go, and we're going to go there in a few. And then there is H5P.com. This is where you purchase, and you'll have a wider range of activities there. And then you have some applications that you can use to create these H5P. Now, in this session, just to remind us that this session has two components. For this particular session, we're going to begin to look a little bit more at what exactly H5P is, how it works, what are the different activities. And then in the follow-up session, all things being equal, I will show us how we can integrate it in the Moodle platform, because Moodle now has a plugin. When you go to activities, you'll see H5P. All right, so much of what I'll be doing, I will be sharing my screen. And so I will ask you to open the mics and walk with me. I just shared and I'm not sure what I'm sharing. Give me 1 minute, please. Let me ensure that I find what I want to share with you. I think I closed it. All right, so I'm just going to open a new page and work from there. Apparently, I closed the page that I had open. So let me share. And this is my empty page. Now, if we go to h5p.org, h5p.org, this is what the site will look like. All right. So for those of us who are not very familiar with H5P and what it is, if you come to h5p.org, it will give you some examples and some other things. Now you have to log in. So it's one of the things that you have to do. You have to create an account, and as soon as you create an account, you can log in. So I'm just going to log in because I created an account on this email address earlier. All right, so I am logged in, and when you log in, you will see it says try out H5P. Before COVID came around, it used to be completely free, and you used to be able to create any kind of content here. So it wasn't you testing the waters as you may here. You used to be able to create. No, you can test, but that's fine. If you, and then of course, they direct you to h5p.com. Let me just show you what that looks like. h5p.com. All right, so this is where you would create your contents for uploading to your LMS or to your web page or wherever it is. And there is a price attached. So there is a free aspect, and then there is a price attached, and they have a 30-day trial. All right. Now, if we come back to H5P and we click on examples and downloads, what it does is that it gives you an idea, just a general idea of the sites into which you can integrate the content. So it tells you that you can put it on websites such as WordPress, Drupal. You can integrate it into a learning management system. So there's Moodle, which we use here on the campus. There's Canvas, Brightspace, Blackboard. These are other learning management systems, or virtual learning environment, as they call them. All right. And then you will see that they have some featured H5P activities. So there's the interactive video, something similar to what we just did. We just went through and examined. There is the course presentation, there is branching, and we're going to take a little look. So one of the things that I want you to do for me, please, go to h5p.org and sign up if you have not done so as yet. So very quickly, I'm gonna just paste the address in the chat. All right, so I've pasted the address in the chat. And as soon as you have signed up, just signal for me, please. You can put something in the chat. You can simply raise your hand. Okay, I see Andrea's hand is up. Is that you have signed up, Andrea, or do you have a question?
No, I've signed up.
Okay, wonderful.
Down. Yes.
And what about the rest of us? The rest of us? See something in the chat?
Jason Lee says he's driving.
Oh, all right. So Jason, you will not be signing up just now.
I don't remember if I have an account. Oops, I'm trying to log in.
If you have an account and you're trying to log in, it may prompt you to, if you have forgotten your password. If
Yeah,
not,
but
just take a few and sign up. And for those
Also
who-
driving. This is Paula.
all right, noted, Paula. And for those who are coming in, I notice the numbers are growing. Welcome. We are pretty much just started. So we started with an activity, had a quick little discussion, and now we're looking at the site that provides this for us. The app that you use, Maite, is it Lumi or is it the H5P app?
Maite, if you're talking, your mic is closed.
Okay. Yes, no, it's the H5P, and I'm trying to open a new account, and it keeps saying this. This name is already existed. This
Yes, that happened to me earlier because I was in trying to create the account with the new email.
Now, okay.
I
now
use the same
Is this
username.
one?
Yes. All right, great. All right, so how far are we with the signing up for those of us who are not driving? Or maybe the question I should ask, how many persons now have access to the account?
Quick question. Did you put the link in the chat? So when
Yes,
I
I did.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I did, and I did it again for those who came in after. Another minute?
I reset my passwords. I'm logged in now.
Okay, great.
Jennifer
All
is
right,
on.
wonderful.
Jennifer is on.
Nice. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to select. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute. So for those of us who have signed in and are able to see, I want you to select anyone. So this is where you will see examples and see what you can download. So if, for example, well, we just looked at the interactive video. But if you, for example, you wanted to look at the course presentation, you have an idea of how it works. So I want you to select anyone, and please note that if you scroll down, you'll realize that there are tons of different activities. So I want you to select one which you will share. You're gonna do a little bit of Ricky on it. So you're gonna select one. And then I don't want us all to select the same one. So I'm gonna ask people to indicate which one you're interested in. And you're gonna explore it a little bit. And then you're gonna share your screen, talk about it, talk about whether or not you could use this in your class and how. All right. So the video is already mine. We went through the video. I will, and we have spoken about the video, so no one can do the interactive video. All right, so please open your mics for those of you who will be participating with us, and tell me which one of these you would like to explore. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes, and then you'll share your screen and share that with us, talk about it a little bit. So who wants to go first, and which one of the activities, the content type, do you want to talk about?
I think the virtual tour looks very exciting.
Virtual tour, that's who?
Andrea.
All right, Andrea, the virtual tour is yours. You can explore that one. Next. So I'm putting it in the chat. Virtual tour, Andrea.
Course presentation,
Who is that?
Jennifer.
So Jennifer, course presentation. All right, next. I'm going to do the hotspot. All right, I'm going to do the image hotspot.
Fill in the blanks.
Who's doing fill in the blanks?
Oh, sorry. That's part of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sorry. My mic's open.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? I'm going to do the image hotspot.
Afternoon. What if you have already explored it a little bit and has created your own? Can you still share the one you have created before?
Of course.
Okay.
Who is that?
This is Antoinette.
Antoinette, what did you create?
I created a crossword puzzle.
All right, that's beautiful. So I'm going to put crossword puzzle, Antoinette. Antoinette. That's how you spell it, Antoinette?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Anybody else? So I have the virtual tour, and then I had tour. Virtual tour is Andrea. My brain was going faster than my fingers. Course presentation is Jennifer. The image hotspot would be me, Michelle. And the crossword puzzle, Antoinette is going to share with us hers and why she uses it and how our students respond. Anybody else? One more person? All right, that's fine. Now, I'm going to stop sharing for a little bit, and I'm going to stop the recording for about 5 minutes so that people have enough time to go through. And then after 5 minutes, I will restart the recording so we can capture this. All right, so 5 minutes, you feel that 5 minutes is enough for us to just see how the tool works and think about how you could use it? Yes, no? This is an interactive session, ladies and gentlemen. Will 5 minutes be enough for you?
Let's try.
Okay, let's try.
Let's try.
I'm going to pause the recording for a bit and then I'll restart in 5 minutes. The recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we've had a little time to look at a few of the options that are present, and some persons had volunteered to do the recce on different tools. And so we're going to be sharing what we found, discussing the potential that it has for the teaching and learning classroom. And then we'll take it from there. So let us start with, well, Andrea, you're not ready, you said? Jennifer, are you ready?
Sorry, one question before we go ahead.
Mhm.
In the URL section, it's giving me a preferred URL and they're giving me .com, but I don't want .com. How do I get around that?
It's taking you from .org to .com.
No, it just says preferred URL and it actually has it already, h5p.com in the space beside the elements. So,
Share your screen, please.
there's elements. All right, let me see if I can.
Oh, it brought you to the .com when you tried looking at it? Because this is a .com. This is .com. All right, Andrea, let me try sharing my screen and let's see what happens. All right. So here I am. I had selected the hotspot, the image hotspot, image hotspots. So I'm just going to click on it. I'm still in h5p.org, and this is the
Once you get started, it takes you to .com. When we're answering the question, would you like to create content like this on your own?
But we're not creating, we're just looking at the.
We're just looking. Okay.
Yes. So we're just examining so that we can get a feel of what it looks like. And then we were planning to discuss. So most of what we have here, and they say that this is simply for you to view what is possible, but for you to purchase and create, you'd have to go to h5p.com. But we're not going to go to H5P. We're actually going to go to our Moodle site because there is a plugin in Moodle that allows us to create our H5P content. All right, so we're just exploring at this point.
Right, okay.
All right, so let me do mine since I was there. So when I click on it, image a hotspot. Now, why did I choose the image hotspot? I know that most of us, not everybody, but many of us tend to be visually inclined. We like looking at images, moving pictures, and so forth. And so I thought, how could an activity be incorporated in a still image, an interactive activity that would get my students, 1, excited, 2, onboarded, and 3, engaged. So I selected the image hotspots, and it has 2 examples. I'm just going to ensure that my sound is on. Yes, my sound is on. So this was the first one. It's a set of berries, and the plus sign indicates to me that these are areas that I would have to click. All right. Now, when I pass my cursor over, it does a little, what do you call it? A little zoom, a zoomito. And so if I click, it opens up the information.
Hey, what's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to make this incredible raspberry ice cream tart to kick off one of my favorite weeks, Ice Cream Week. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is add your butter to a small.
So I'm going to stop right there. So wow, this is a still image and I can put a hotspot on it that brings up a video. Can you imagine giving just an image to your students and telling them to click on this, watch the video, click, do the activity? You know, so that is one of the things that I found very, very informative. Right away, I can see engagement, I can see interactivity. All right. The next thing is a blueberry here, and then I click on it, it gives me information. So I don't have to give my students, what this tells me right away is that I don't have to give my students multiple resources, you know, so I don't have to give them the images, I don't have to give them the what do you call that, the text, and then give them a video. You know, I don't have to put all of these things into a book. I can simply embed them into an image using what we call hotspots. So it gives information about what blueberries contain, and it speaks about the benefits of blueberries. And then of course, I would go through something like this with my students so that they understand exactly how it works. When I click on the other hotspot, it brings up a full screen video realized that the first video was actually not full screen. The second one is. Let me just show you what I mean.
Hey, what's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to
Alright.
make this.
So it means that I have options in the type of videos that I share with my students. And then the final one gives me information on blackberries. And I could have done the same with any other kind of berries. I could add more hotspots, provide my students with information. All right. Now, the second example is text and image. It's a map, and don't know where exactly this is, but if we click, it gives us information. So you could probably, I'm coming, Paula. We could possibly start out with a general discussion in our class. Where do you think this is? Where do you think the places are highlighted? Maybe do a quick poll to see how many persons were spot on with the guesses. And then if the students click, so you can do this, you can share this with the students where they do this on their own as an asynchronous activity, or you can use this in class as a synchronous activity. So you simply click on the hotspot and the information comes up about what it is, the flag and so forth. Yes, Paula, and your hand was up.
I love this. Is it that I'm able to insert a YouTube video from YouTube?
You
Or do I
can
have to download
insert
the video?
YouTube
Okay.
videos, or you can upload your own videos.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. That's what you wanted to say?
Yes, because I saw the video and I was trying not to get excited until I heard that I can link it
Oh,
from YouTube. So I was
we
excited now.
actually started just before you came in. We started with a video, and we went through the activity. So in my video, I had put some information and an activity, and so we went through that, spoke about that just before you came. All right, since your mic is open, would you like to share with us, did you get a chance to look at the Speak the Words? Paula? Paula?
Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute.
Okay.
I had unmuted. Okay, yes, I did.
Oh,
And
so
I did. So the question is there on the screen, and they use a mathematics question to what is 2 plus 2.
Can
And
you
then
share
have,
it? Oh, you can't share.
no, I'm sorry, I closed it back.
That's fine.
But it really was just the image. What is 2 plus 2? And a button that says chat to speak.
Yes.
And
And
I
so they
said
would record
4.
their responses. Okay. And you
Right.
see how something like, or you could create something like this for your students. It doesn't have to be a
I
mathematic.
did. And I was testing it with Patois. 4 versus 4.
Ah, nice, nice, nice. All right. Andrea, are you ready for us? Andrea? All right, so I'm not hearing from Andrea. Jennifer, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you ready to share what you selected?
Well, I selected course
presentation.
Right. So I thought I would input my own data. And then for myself with a game, they gave you a gamified experience about France. And I have little knowledge of France, of course. So I didn't
So
expect
would you like, can you share your screen?
I'll try. I'm challenged with, let me see if I can open back this and find where I share. I'm always challenged with trying to find where do I share from? Where do I share from now?
So you're in Zoom?
I'm in Zoom.
You're using a mobile device or a laptop or a desktop?
I'm using a laptop.
All right. So at the bottom, and you're seeing the other participants?
I'm seeing the participants. I have to check for that. Invite, copy chat.
Oh, that's fine. I just want to get an idea. Oh, you found
I'm seeing it now.
Okay, great.
All right. So are you seeing it now?
Yes, I am seeing the end of the
end of
game.
it. So
Can
going
you
back
go
now,
back?
I'll have to do it all over, right? Every time I made an error, oh Lord, I went too far.
Well, it says 1 of 4, so it simply means that you have 4 different. So it's okay. Walk us through. Is
Right.
this something that you could
First
set up?
question was, yes, it
Are
is
you
something that
familiar
could
with
be set up.
France?
How
Mhm.
familiar are you with France? Of course, I wasn't that familiar, but let's see what the quiz says.
Mhm.
So I went to start and it says, which of these flags belong to France?
Bottom left.
Yes, okay, you're correct. And you're to find France on the map of Europe.
All right, so if that is Portugal, that would be Spain. I don't know.
Okay, so
But it's
I made
somewhere
2
down there.
errors and then had to go over again from the beginning. And then it asks for the national anthems. Of course, I don't know either.
All right, that's fine. One minute. One thing that I want to point out here. So
Yes.
you do realize that you don't have to assess or engage your students with simply text. We know that we can input videos. We know that we can input text,
Right.
but we also realize that apart from them recording their voices, we can also allow them to listen. So I like the idea that it has snippets of the different anthems that students could listen and select the correct one.
Right. So this one, you got it correct, and they give you a little information on it, who wrote it.
And this is good for feedback,
Right.
you know, and also if it may not just be feedback, because this may not have been the sort of details covered in the course, but because we advocate for something which we call lifelong learning and extracurricular learning and so forth. This is something that the students can expand their repository of growing knowledge by providing information such as this.
That's correct. Right, so we are supposed to identify one of these famous paintings located in Paris. So if you don't know, you'll just guess until you get it right. But every time you get a wrong answer, you start from the beginning all over again. Right. And it tells you who was the artist and what it was all about. And you are to identify the French capital on these photos.
And you did,
Okay.
right?
Yes, well, I did after the second try. Yes, and that's how I got the congratulations guide screen, and then it gave a video. Right, so this is a video that came up about learning more about France.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
You are welcome.
And then, of course, depending on whichever one you choose, you know, you set it up for your students and you get feedback from them as you know, whether or not this is something that could work for them. But I can see the excitement when I used it first with my Spanish students. They only wanted that kind of thing. And I didn't mind, because it reminded me somewhat of the lesson feature in the Moodle, where they had resources, they had different types of activities. But when I had started, I used the Lumi and I simply uploaded that to them so they could use it wherever they were. So I was actually quite excited to share this aspect with you. All right, one more person, and then we're going to look at Lumi, and then we're going to look.
I could share the virtual tour.
Yes, you're ready, Andrea. Yes. And then Antoinette, I think, had created a crossword puzzle. Is Antoinette still in the room?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So Antoinette, you will then share your crossword puzzle with us. So Paula,
Okay,
is that a new hand?
It's a new hand. A quick question. You said it was good for feedback. In what way?
All right. So you see where the question was answered and it said correct? I mean, I would go a little further than just simply saying correct. I would probably add some more information in the kind of feedback. So instead of just correct and incorrect, for incorrect, I would probably add, you know, some little motivating comments about what probably needs to done as it relates to reviewing this particular question or unit or topic. Does that answer the question? Wonderful. Anigo?
Yeah, I have one as well. A brief demo.
You have what?
I have one as well.
Oh, okay.
Version.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's do it in this order. Andrea, Antoinette, and then Anika, 3 A's. All right.
Okay, so mine is more of a question because when I ticked on, sorry, I'm trying to share screen. Can you see the screen?
It's coming up. Yes, it's there.
Right. So this is what I saw when I clicked on. So my question is, say for example, I wanted to do, I'm just thinking, maybe the brain tour because I teach about the brain, and then I wanted to include some things in it. So I would click on this. Now, how do I actually get the picture? How do I import that?
All right. So we're going to look at how we do that. So for this one, we're just fooling around, but we're gonna
it's similar to what you did with the X's. Then it's kind of similar. You just click on these various areas, and then the place comes up.
So doesn't
you should be able to drag those
doesn't it allow you to hold down and move? Because if it's a virtual tour, you should be able to pull. Doesn't it allow that?
I'm only seeing arrows, but there's a right up below which I would probably need to read up on to see if there's something, you know, all of this right up here. The features, text, image, video.
That tells you what
and then it
goes
says read the
in
installation guide to get H5P on your own site. Whatever.
Yeah, so that's just simply, and we don't have to do the installation thing because H5P is a part of the Moodle platform that we call the Moodle 4, the VLE, not or VLE.
Or the VLE.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
And I like the idea of the brain, you know, where there are so many things going on there. So if you did a virtual tour of the brain, it you know, for those who have the touch devices, they should be able to go around and see exactly what's going on, starting from point A and coming back to point A to point A. All right.
Thank you.
Antoinette, you did a crossword puzzle.
Yes, I did. Not, oh, okay. So, not seeing where it is showing me to show my background. Just a sec, please. If Annika can go before me, because my system is giving some, I have to allow it to share.
All right, no problem. Annika?
Okay, wait. Share screen, okay. All right, let's see if this works. I'm using more than one window. Let's see if it will do more than one tab. So what I was looking at this summary, the interactive summary. So this is what is on H5P, and basically you have statements. You select the statement and you build a summary. So it picks up the one that you click on, and if it's right, you build
it
a
builds
summary,
the summary.
right? So I had adapted this. Oh, okay. I can't get to the tab. All right, so I had adapted this in a unit. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Am I in Moodle?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so we usually have summaries at the end of each session and unit, and frankly, I find that very boring. So I said, let me try the interactive summary, and using the same statements that were in the summary, you can have the student select and build the summary. So they
And
actually have to
build the
think
summary.
about what the session or unit was about. So let's say, I'm guessing here now. Oh, it's correct. Okay. And let's see if I get a wrong one. No, I got a right one. Okay. So this is the summary built, and you get your points, and it matches the summary, the original summary, right? So instead of having this, and I would just skip over.
Yes.
If I was reading this, but the interactive summary forces you to read,
To
think about
engage with it and engage with, yes. And
So-
and it's so much, because simply giving them this summary, it's so passive, you know.
Yeah.
They more than likely are not going to retain much of what they see. But when they're doing, and so it reminds me of the saying, when I hear, I forget, when I see, I remember, when I do, I am engaged and I understand, then I learn. And so the whole idea behind the H5P activities is that students are doing, they're always doing whatever it is that whether you're giving them resources or activities, they're doing. And because they're doing, they're engaged. And because they're engaged, they are learning, they're understanding the
reinforcing.
content and reinforcing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I've never used the interactive summary. I've never seen it in action. So thank you very much for sharing this, Anika. Are you ready for us now, Antoinette?
Yes, I am.
All right, go ahead, please.
So mine is not as elaborate as
It doesn't matter.
others, but I was able to create just a small testing it out. So I was able to create my crossword puzzle in regards to the family. What I did was to create for an experiment, created a little course in regards to teaching young students about the different types of family that it's out there. And we gave them a knowledge check at the end of the course to see, based on the definition, what each family member would have each family group would consist of, to see if they were able to go ahead and figure it out. It was just a simple crossword puzzle that you could go through. So I created this one from scratch with a different background and the different questions that were there to assist the students in, just knowledge check to see what they could remember from what they learned in the lesson and going forward.
So show us how it works.
So the first question, 2 across, says Sylvia lives with her mother, father, brother, aunt, and uncle. So what kind of family does Sylvia live in? Now the answer would be, the person would just have to type in the sorry. So they will go through and type in each question. All family members have more than one person. So 4 down would be, oh, I'm sorry, not 4 down, 4 across. One down, take out this. So 1 down is asked, Mary lives with her mother and brother. What kind of family does she live with? So she just you can go through each of the questions.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we get it.
It goes through and it tells you. So, and at the end, they could check to see if the answers were correct or incorrect. And it was just a nice little gesture for the students.
Yes. Okay, thank you ever so much. You can stop sharing when you're ready. All right, so then, ladies and gentlemen, what have we just learned? We have learned that the H5P tool is a powerful tool for engaging our students. Of course, as with any other tool, you have to ensure that you think about your learning objectives, your learning outcomes, you think about the kinds of students that you have, and then you use that to guide your selection of all these different tools. And as you realize, there are lots and lots and lots of them. Now, we're going to look at the Moodle platform because we are using the Moodle platform and how it integrates into the Moodle platform. And if time allows, we'll just simply do a quick setup. I'll work with the video. And then I don't think we'll have much time after that, but for the next session, we'll continue by looking at the other activities. And then we will be looking at an app called Lumi that you can download, use on your desktop, so you don't have to log into the system, use on your desktop to create the same number and variety and type and quality of interactive activities, and simply upload or embed to your Moodle platform, to your website, or send them as files to your students for self-paced or asynchronous activities, right? Any questions before I move over to the Moodle platform? No? All right. All right, so we have, I'm sharing my screen and I am going to go to the Bailey, if this will allow me. Let me just get this out of the way. All right, there we are. So I'm just going to go over to the Bailey, and most persons are on the VLE. Well, let me just go. Oh, that's or VLE. I need VLE. What's the website for VLE? VL. Oh, I actually had one up. All right, so I am logged in. Let me ensure that I am logged in. Yes, I'm logged in, and this is the course that I want to put my H5P content in. All right. Now, one of the things that I would have to do is I would have to ensure that my editing is on. All right. So my edit mode was off. When it's off, it looks like that. When it's on, it looks like that, like this. This course, ladies and gentlemen, is a fictitious course. It was made up just for the demonstration purposes. All right. Now I am in and I'm scrolling down to where I have my assessments, and this is where I want to put my H5P. I would click on add an activity or resource. And if I filter by activities, you realize that my H5P is right here. All right. And if I click on my H5P, it requires me to put my name, the name of the file, the usual thing in setting up. All right. And if I click on files, it will require me to select from the content bank. All right. Now I'm going to come out of this. Let me just go down the bottom and cancel. In our platform, we engage the content bank first. All right. So the content bank is where we will put our information. We will upload we'll either create or upload our H5P activity. So we would go to more, and then we would scroll down to content bank. All right, so the question bank is for our quizzes. The content bank is for our H5P activities. So when I click on content bank, what happens is that it brings me to my working space where I can add or I can upload. So next week, if all things are equal, when we look at the Lumi, if we created any files, any H5P activities in Lumi, we can use the upload feature. But for now, we'll add. So if you click on add, it will list, and you'll realize that it is listing just about all the different files that we saw on the h5p.org website. All right. That is because when we went there, we noticed that it integrates into a number of websites and a number of virtual learning environments. Now, I had said that we're going to do the interactive video because I have that file. So I'll just do the interactive video. And the second disclaimer that I want to make is the fact that most of the CECIL courses have not been migrated. So our interaction on the new Moodle page is very limited. So there are some things that I can take us through, but I don't have students in any of my courses because the courses that actually have students weren't brought across as yet. So I can still walk us through how to create, but in terms of showing what a student would see and how a student may engage will be limited. All right. So we're in the content bank and we can either upload or we can create. In this case, we are creating, okay? And in order for you to create, it is practical for us to create a folder and ensure that you have collated all the information that you want to put in your H5P activity. So I have a folder that I created that has my video and has an image that I will be using. All right. So I am working on the other screen. Give me 1 second, please. All right. So it says adding a new H5P interactive content, and I'm adding an interactive video. All right. Now, the first thing that I will have to do is put in the title of the video. So I am going to call this Innovative Teaching on the Mona campus. Yes. Because that is the name of the video that I was working with. All right. And then the second thing that I would have to do is I would have to upload the video. Now, when I scroll down to where it says upload the video, you'll realize that there are three menus, three windows, if you will. So the first one says upload or embed your video. The second says add interactions. This is where we will decide to add text, questions, that sort of thing. And the third says summary task. Now, the summary task is something similar to what Anika showed us, but it's not a summary building. It's a series of statements where the students will select the one that is correct. All right. So let us add the video. So I'm going to click on add. And I can, Paula, I think this is what you were asking. Now I can upload a video, or I can paste the URL link for a video that is on YouTube or a video that is somewhere else that is accessible. Okay, so I don't have to have the video on my device. I can actually use a video from YouTube. So that works. So I have my video, so I'm going to click upload. And then I'm going to look for where my video is. So it is on the desktop and it is in my H5P folder. And there it is. So I'll click on it and wait on it to upload. All right. So it tells me that my video is uploaded, and the quality, there are different types of quality. So we don't have to worry about that. In fact, we don't have to even look at the other features. We leave the default, but just out of curiosity, you can click the drop down to see what is there. So it says that the title of this interactive video is called interactive video. I'll probably change it. So I'll call it Innovative Teaching at Mona. So that is the name of it. So it won't say interactive video when I start it. All right. And then it has behavioral settings, where I can start the video. So I don't have to start the video at 0. I can actually start the video midway, especially if it's a lengthy video and so forth. So in your own time, you can just explore what the other options are. And then of course, if it's a video where you don't want the students to hear the sound, you just want them to watch, and probably, I don't know, maybe if it's an activity where you want to see if they are good at lip reading because you had a session on that, you could deactivate the sound and run the video. So we'll leave the other things as is. Now, please note, I am focusing on the second screen. So if you have a question or if you need something clarified, please open your mic and
I'm back.
And let me know. Oh, great. Thank you very much, Charmaine. Okay, so when we have done, we have uploaded our video, we then move over to add interactives. All right, so let me just make sure that this doesn't say done. So I click on add interactives, and at the very top, you'll see that there are different things that we can add to the video. Isn't this just amazing? All right, so there are a number of things that we can add to the video, and if you click on the more elements, it shows you that you can also add an image choice. All right, so there are several things that we can add to our video. So we are going to add an interaction. Now we have the video here that we can move. So if we move to the point where we want, we can then add the interaction there. All right, so we can do one of two things. We can select the interaction and then select where it should go, or we can bring the video across to where we want it and then add the interaction. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to add text right at this point. So this is the interaction that says text. I'm going to click on it and it will open the text window. All right, so it tells me where the text will start. Okay, so it will start at about 5 seconds and it will go to 15. I want it to go to 10, so I can just make a little adjustment right there. And then I want the video to be paused so they can see what happens. I can display as a poster, which comes up like a little box with the information, or I can use a button that they click. All right, so I leave it as a button. And then for the label, I will put something that indicates that there is some information here. All right. And then I put the text that I want them to see when they click on learn more. Oops. The SETL is a center for excellence in teaching and learning. There is one on each of the UE campus. There is one on each of the UE campus. Each of the UE campuses. All right. So let us say that that is the information that we want the students to see. We click on done. All right. And so it gives us a little preview of where the information would come up. I can simply just drag it and move it to where I want it, for better placement. And so, and if I want to make adjustments, I simply click the edit right here. Okay, so I have added something. And then I scroll down. All right. And then for this one, I probably want to put an image. All right. So I would click on the image. And again, I go through similar steps. All right. So I'll probably have it displayed as a poster. Oh, I know I did something wrong. Did I select pause video? I did select pause video, didn't I, in the first instance? I'll go back and check. I want the video to be paused so that you can see exactly. Now, if you are using small screens, you can select turn into button on small screen. So if you're using a smartphone, which is, one of the smaller ones, or you're using a small tablet, it will come up as a button rather than as a poster. Okay. And then it has alternative text. And as you go through, you'll realize that it does give you some kind of guidelines as you go along. It says that this is required. If the browser cannot load the image, the text will be displayed instead. All right. So this that I'm putting is going to be bowl of Jamaican fruits. Okay. Because that is what I'm going to bring up. All right. And then I need to add the image. So I put in that information. So I'm going to add the image. And then of course, I look for where my image is. And there it is. I click on it. I get a little preview. All right. And then as again, you have different options. We can leave the default. When we're finished and we're satisfied, we click on done. All right. And then when it comes up, we can decide to resize it. So we can resize it for students to see exactly what it is we want. And we can position it where we want to position it. Okay. And let's move the video on some more. Let me come right here. And then for this one, I'm going to add true false. Let's add a true false. All right. And so you realize that the activities that you engage in are repetitive, they're similar. So that makes it very easy for you to quickly get a feel of how fast you can go when you're putting this together. Okay. This is a true false. I want to pause the video. I want them to, you know, do this. The label will be, this is a true false question. So the label would be something like a quick question for you. All right. And then you can always check out the untitled part. So you can put true false question and then you put the question here. All right. So I'm gonna put the basket that you just viewed has bananas, pineapples, and bread, fruit. All right. And then of course the correct answer is false. And then you can click on done. All right. And then I'll probably set it up so that it comes up here. Or maybe line it up. Here works. All right. So where you put the particular labels, it's if you have images that you still want the students to see, you probably need to put it in an area that is not obstructive at all. All right. And then you want to wrap up. So you can keep adding images, you can keep adding questions as you go through. When you're satisfied with what you have, you can then select summary task, which is the third. Now, the summary task is optional. Students don't have to do it. You should, however, if you set anything up and you include a summary task, and encourage the students to do it and tell them why it is important for them to engage in a summary task. It's the summative it's the last aspect of the activity that they're engaging in. It helps them to show that they do understand what the activity is all about, that they can engage in, they can demonstrate the learning outcomes that you probably have set for them and so forth. So setting a summary task is a good idea, and encouraging students to participate in it is even better. All right, so I will just remove the untitled from that, and we'll choose the correct statement. The first statement is usually the correct statement. All right, and then of course it tells you that as well. So we want to say that innovative teaching on the Mona campus comprises engagements which rely on technology tools as well as those void of technology. All right, that's correct. And then we put an incorrect one. The flipped classroom is an example of innovative teaching with involved technology. And then if you wanted to add more statements, you click on add statements. So you can add as many statements as you want. And when we had done the Moodle quiz, the overall feedback, we had learned that if we put in overall feedback, depending on the grade that the student gets, the student would get some kind of feedback. And so this is something similar. It's a simplified version, but this is where you give your overall feedback. So the default range is from 0 to 100, but you can add your range. All right, and you can add as many as you want. So for the first one, if I put 0 to 39, all right, I can then put the feedback that they would get if they get between 0 and 39% for the activities. You tried, but you will need to review the basics of innovative teaching. Better and stronger for the next activity. Input activity. All right, so this is where you put your kind of overall feedback. So at the end, they get this. All right, so from 40 to, let me say, 69. And then I put in the feedback. I'm just going to copy and paste here. But you wouldn't do that in when you're setting it up. You'd actually, you know what, let me write in the feedback. A fair attempt. You will definitely need to review some key elements in this unit. And then the third one would be 70 to, let us say, 89. And great job on this activity. There are still a few things. It depends on how you talk to your students to iron out, but you are well on your way to success. And then it automatically fills in the last set of activities. So it says 90 to 100. You have some minor areas to revisit, but all in all, well done. All right, And so you put in, that's what I'm talking about. You put in your overall feedback comments. And then again, as I said, you can leave these as you can leave the defaults as they are. All right. And so I am happy. I'm just taking a quick look. And so when you're satisfied with your activity, you click on save. Okay, something is, oh, I had clicked add a statement. So you notice just before it came over, you realize that it flagged something because I had clicked on add a statement and I actually did not add the statement. All right. So what it has done, it reads it as I'm not adding a statement and has removed it. Okay. So I can go back and click save. All right. Now, this gives me a preview of what I have just done. All right. If you look at the bottom, you can actually see these little dots. So if you, as the creator, just pass your cursor over it, it tells you. So that one says learn more. This one says, I think it says image. This one says a quick question for you. And this one says open summary dialogue. Because we had changed the name of the video, it no longer says interactive video. It says innovative teaching at Mona. So the name is shown. And then I can do my preview of the video. All right, so I'm just going to click. All right, so you notice that it doesn't continue playing. It stops because I had selected pause video. And it has something that it would pique the students' curiosity a little bit. I have learned more with a question, with an exclamation sign. If there are other expressions that you can use to let them go in, you can do so. So when they click on that, it brings up the text box, which has the information. All right. And then of course, the information that you put here, you could easily incorporate it in one of the quiz questions that you may integrate into your video. All right. So when I click X, I can click
Teaching is
on
not just about imparting knowledge. It's about igniting curiosity, fostering critical thinking, developing problem-solving skills, and inspiring students to explore beyond the confines of traditional learning.
All right. And again, it stops because I wanted my students to have the video pause so that they could see this particular image. And I think the location was a nice one because there was a board there. I simply put it right there so they can see the info. And of course, you have to be strategic about what it is that you put in. So in a case like this, I have put a bowl of fruits. I didn't just store it in for throwing sake, as you will see in a few. So let me continue.
If we think about it in simple terms,
so the video
innovative teaching is a mindset that embraces creativity, collaboration, and student-centered approaches to education. It involves adopting new strategies, techniques, and technologies where applicable to enhance the learning experience of our learners.
Okay, and so it stops it. And therefore, I can now check out what it says. It says a quick question for you. And this is a question for you as well, just to find out if you're paying attention. So the basket that you just viewed has bananas, pineapples, and breadfruits. True or false?
I never said a breadfruit.
So does it mean that because you didn't see the breadfruit that there were no breadfruits? Or is it that the basket has no breadfruits? So is it true or false?
False.
It's false, all right? So I select false, I click on check, and then it says great. You got 1 out of 1. So I will continue. And of course,
Innovative teaching
we
isn't
know what
limited to technology.
continuing means, so let's go down here.
We wish to remind you that the true essence of innovative teaching lies in your willingness to experiment, reflect, and continuously adapt to meet the evolving needs of your students.
All right, so open summary dialogue. All right, so that, I didn't click on the statement. So I click on the statement now, and there are 2 statements here, but you could have added more. I simply stopped at 2. So it says that innovative teaching does that. The flipped classroom is an example. So let me click on this one. So it tells me that it's incorrect. Let me see if I click on the top one, what does, okay. And then I click continue. And if I open the summary, it tells me that. So even though I got it correct, eventually what happened was because I'd selected the incorrect one first, it tells me that this is the feedback that I would have had. All right. And I did not select that I wanted them to retry and that it should overwrite whatever was done first. So these are some of the things that you may have to consider when you are setting it up. And then I click continue, and I can come out of this. I can exit. All right. Now, all that I have done is I have set it up. All I have done is I have set it up in the content bank. I haven't added it to my course as yet. All right. How do I know which one of these is the one? 26. This is the time. This would be this one, yes? So it's the one that says innovative teaching on the Mona campus. So now I go back to my course, because all I have done is that I have created the H5P in the content bank. All right. So now I am going to add it to my course. Okay. So I go to where I want to put it and make sure that my editing is on. All right. So I'm going to go to where I want to put this activity, and I want to put it right here. So I click on add an activity or resource. I look for H5P. Let's filter. That's better. So there it is, H5P. I give it a name, learning about innovative teaching on the campus. All right. I put in a description. Now you realize that we don't have to put a description in, but you can put a description in. And where it says package file, when I click on add, you will realize that it takes me to content bank. I cannot upload the file unless I had already created my H5P file and it is stored on my computer. All right, so I go to content bank and I see them here. And this is the one that I'm interested in. It was last modified at 325. So I click on it to ensure that it is selected, and I click on select this file. Okay, so there is my file. And then I go to my H5P options. I may want the students to download this. I can decide if I want to put an embed or a copyright button. Right now, I don't want them to do anything. I can give it a grade. So it is working just like any one of the activities that we would have set up in our Moodle gradebook. So it's points, and the grade for this is, I'm going to give it 15. All right, so it's worth 15, because of course this particular video that I've put together has a number of questions and different type of questions that I want my students to engage in. And at the end of it all, I want them to get a grade of 15. Okay, and then I can decide if I want to have a grade for them to pass. If I do this, what happens when they look on their grade book, when they click on grades to see, if it is in green with a tick, they know that they have passed it. If it's in red with a little X, they know that they were not successful in the activity. Attempt option, I can enable attempt tracking, so I can see how many times they have done this activity. I can select my grading method to be the highest grade or the last attempt or the first attempt, that sort of thing. It's really up to you and the purpose of the activity that you're creating. For review attempts, participants can review their own attempts, or participants cannot review. It would be good for participants to be able to review, especially if you have set this up as an asynchronous activity where they go in, do the activity, see, review, and so I would leave that. Common module settings, I want it to show on the page. I'm not forcing anything. I'm not putting this in group mode or anything. I'm not restricting, I'm not putting any restrictions on either, so I leave that alone. I tend to work with my activity completion because it also gives the student an idea of what it is that they have completed and what they haven't. And so I do not allow them to manually mark activities that completed, because some of our students will go in and they will sit down and mark everything as complete. So I usually set it to be complete when the conditions have been met. And for this, I want them to receive a grade. It doesn't matter if the grade is a passing grade or not. For me, I just want them to get a grade to say that you have completed the activity. All right. And then I would click save and display, or save and return to course. Save and display simply saves it and opens it up so that you can see it right there. Save and display saves it, but takes you back to the course where you would have to click on it. So I'm going to click on save and display. All right, now you get a message. Now I am the teacher, and so it tells me that the content is displayed in preview mode. No attempt at tracking will be stored. Okay, and it also tells me, and this is what the students would also see, that they're expected to view it and they're expected to receive a grade. All right, and so I can simply click it because this is what my students would see. I'm just testing to make sure that what we previewed in setting up is what actually happens. All right, and so we are good to go. So I don't even have to go any further because I am happy with this. Okay, I've never checked more. Okay, more is simply the usual. If we don't want to leave this on, we can just click out of it. Now, if I go to my course assessments, I will see that it is right there. Okay, and this is where my students would see it. They see the title of it. When they click on it to go in, the video will play for them. They will do the activities. They will get their grade. They will get their feedback. And then because I have attached it to the grade book, they can click the grade book to go in and see the kind of feedback that they got and the grade that they got. Of course, they would have an idea of the grade that they received because they would have already completed the activity and would have seen the grade they got. Now, it's what, 20 minutes to 4. I don't want to start a new activity, but I do want to introduce you to the Lumi that we are going to be using for next week. So I am just going to take us through rather quickly with that, and then we will wrap up. Are there any questions that you need to ask? Any clarification that you need? Now, before you do that, let me just quickly remind you, in your Moodle, when you go to your course, all right, so you log in, you are on My Courses where you have your list of courses. When you log in and you go into your course, remember you need to turn editing on to add your activities. But where you will work with your H5P is in the content bank. So you go to more, you click content bank, and you can add from the different types that are there, or you can upload your H5P package. And after you have done that, you then return to your course, ensure that your edit mode is on so that you can add your activity or your resource. You click on that, you click on, well, you can filter by activities. you go to H5P, you put in the title, you upload. So when you click, it will open that window where you'll see Content Bank, and you select it from there. Any questions?
Yes. It is not about the process. I think you've explained the process very well. Thank you. It is about understanding the platform being used. So I have not had access to, well, I'm going to say the last time I put together a course that had VLE in it, it was OUR VLE. Recently, I had to use ELS, but you are very specific to say VLE versus OUR VLE. Did something happen that I missed?
Yes. So the excuse me, the Mona campus upgraded from the ORVLE, which was version 2.7. So this is ORVLE, and they upgraded to this, which they simply call VLE. So it's called the UE Mona Virtual Learning Environment, the VLE.
Okay, so OUR VLE doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yes, man. ORVLE still exists and is very much active because some courses are still there. So I don't know if you heard when I was saying,
you haven't migrated all your courses. Okay.
I just shared with you the two things without realizing that I wasn't sharing the screen. So our courses, the settled courses are still on the ORVLE, and my Cuttle group is still on the ORVLE with me. But most of the courses, I think probably all courses now for graduate and undergraduate students may have been transferred to the VLE. So most persons will be working. No, it doesn't. So the H5P did not work with ORVLE. I'm going to share back my screen so that we can find this out together.
Oh, ELS is ORVLE.
ELS is what?
It's the Mona School of Business.
Oh,
version
I think they're also version 4. So you would more than likely have the kind of access and the features that we currently have. So I'm just going to go into one of my courses just to make sure that I am giving you correct information about the plugin. All right. So as you can see here, you have your activities and there's nothing about H5P. All right. H5P, I think, started out in the content bank and all started in version 3.9 of Moodle. So the ORVLE is 2.7 and the VLE is 4.1. So it has some significant upgrades. And I think the ELS, I haven't really seen it. I've heard people talk about it, but I think the ELS is version 4 as well.
I guess I should log in and see. If it's version 4, it should be good. But actually, I can log in and look for H5P.
Yes, you can. You can. And even if it's not version 4 and it's a version 3.78 or 9, you should be able to see Content Bank, which means that you can work with your H5P.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I am still sharing my screen because if you are attending the session next week and while you have a week to play with, I would love for you to download and look at the features of Lumi. I'm going to walk us through how we can create our H5P without going to the H5P site, or if we don't have access to the Moodle platform, how you can still create your interactives for your students using this software. So, well, it's an app. So it has a pricing, but we're not interested in that. We're interested in, well, first of all, you go to Lumi Education. All right. So app.lumi, L-U-M-I, education. Let me just post that in the chat. And when you go, you click on desktop. and then you select Windows if you're downloading for a Windows device, or for Mac, or if you're a Linux user, you can select it for that. I have used it for Windows and I've used it for Macs. For Linux, I don't know how that works, all right? But I trust that it works well. You click on it. I already have it downloaded, so I won't download. So you go through and select the download option that works for you, and then you can start looking at it. I'm going to share with you what Lumi looks like just very quickly. So this is the app that I have on my computer, and when you click on it, you will get two options: the H5P editor or the Lumi Analytics. Lumi Analytics is if you're using the Lumi cloud-based server, you can actually get the reports on how well students are doing, what they have done, how, you know, that sort of thing, and you get the charts and graphs and so forth. But it is the H5P editor that you'd be interested in. And once you click on start, it wants to find out if you want to open an existing one. So if you already have created and have them downloaded, you can go, or if you want to create a new. And when you click on create a new, you'll realize that you can see all the different content that are on the h5p.org website. If you don't have it downloaded, you will realize that it says get for the ones that you have downloaded or the ones that have come in the system. It will say details. And if you click on details, it gives you a demo, and it says use, and then it takes you to the same kind of interface where you can then upload, add your interactions and your summary task. So for our session, if you are coming to the session next week, I'm encouraging you to download the Lumi so that we can have that kind of engagement where we're going to create several other things. So we're going to, we looked very briefly at creating the video. We're going to be creating our hotspot. We're going to be creating our drag and drop. We're going to be creating one where they click. So we're going to be creating several activities. This particular session was to get you to start wrapping your head around a different tool that could increase learner engagement. It's a tool that can be used for both synchronous, teacher-led, synchronous, student-led, or asynchronous sessions. You can set it up. The good thing about it is that you can embed it on a website. So I can put it in my Padlet and embed my Padlet in my Moodle, or I can simply select the plugin, the activity plugin that's on the Moodle platform. I can create a page, and on the page I can embed my activity. So you know how you set up a page and the students are reading, and then you want to drop an activity in there, but you usually have to put it on the Moodle page. With the H5P, you can create your page, drop your activity in, continue with the rest of the content. So for the session next week, because we now have a better idea of how this works, we will be creating 2 or 3 different type of activities. But to get us familiar with the different activities without having to go to the website, I am encouraging us to download the Lumi desktop app so that you can start fooling around with that. Okay, before I do my quick wrap up, are there any questions, any comments that you'd like to make? I hope I didn't go too quickly for you. I know that learning, yes, somebody's mic is open.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle. This is Charlene. I joined late, as I'd indicated. Would it be possible for me to get the recording before the next session so I can familiarize myself?
Yes, I need to apologize for the lateness of the last session. We had a little technicality, and so we had to try and address that before we could send that video out. So yes, as soon as the video becomes available, which will be later today, I will send it out.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Yes.
No problem. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we had a sneak peek into what is known as H5P, which is HTML5 package. It's a suite of activities that we can use to engage our students. They're called interactives. So for everything that we can use, we can create interactive. It requires the students to engage, to interact with the content. We started out by looking at a video that was created using H5P, and we were amazed, we were wowed by the capabilities. We went to the h5p.org site, where we were able to get a look into the wide range of different content that can be made interactive. And we selected and shared what we found as a group. Then there are the innovators again among us who tried and shared what they have done in terms of using the H5P. We went to the Moodle platform, where we realized that in order for us to add the H5P activity, we needed to start out with the content bank. And so we went to the content bank, where we found out that we could add our interactive by selecting from the drop-down that is available, or we could upload if we already had that on our device. And so we went through the steps in doing our interactive video. We also took a quick look at the Lumi platform, and we are encouraged to download it so we can familiarize ourselves with it a little bit more. Now, because we're armed with this kind of knowledge, for the Lunch and Learn, which is purely a practical session, we will be creating 2 or 3 different activities, and we will either be sharing the links, or we will be putting it in the Moodle platform. It really doesn't matter at this point. The important thing is going through the steps of creating these different activities. And so I will say what I say every time I have a session. Consider this a tool. Don't simply select it and say, oh yes, I'm going to use it because it's nice. We have to look closely at the tools. We have to consider the learning context. And so what is it that I want my students to learn in this particular class? Is this particular H5P activity something that will help to enhance that learning experience? Will it engage my students? Will it help me to see that my students can demonstrate the learning activities and the outcomes that I wish to see? It is nice, isn't it? Think about whether or not you're going to need help. Remember, help is always there. Reach out to people who we have heard that there are some people who use it. So reach out to them if you're trying and you're getting a little bit frustrated, or you get stuck somewhere. Reach out, and the settle is here as well. I always say that it was ambition that killed Caesar. So please do not decide that you're going to do 10 of the interactives. Start with 1. Okay, start with 1 and get more comfortable and confident with it. Get your feedback from your students, and then you can add another one. And have fun. Enjoy the process. Test it out. Get feedback from your students. Pat yourselves on your shoulder. But consider this another tool that you can add to your growing repertoire of tools that you already have. And it was a pleasure having you as usual. And I look forward to seeing you next session, which is next Wednesday from 12 to 1 o'clock. Before I log out, any final words? Okay, great. So explore. I love the interactive nature of it, but again, think about the learning aspect. So ladies, I think we're all ladies left now. Do have a great day and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you, Michelle, for the session.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Interesting.
Bye.